Hello, everybody. I guess I'll make this part two to rental property ownership. Before, I was digging up a sewer line and replacing the whole thing and jackhammering out concrete. And today, I'm sitting at a different rental property of mine. As you can tell, it needs a roof. It's leaking inside. And it's not a very big house, right? It's a small house. And it's got a shallow roof. But it's got a big problem. What's that problem, you say? Those trees. Now, if you see the stumps, I had to cut some trees to prepare to cut those other trees that were leaning towards the house because I needed these trees out of the way so I could fall the others and they wouldn't get stuck in the branches of the others falling down and fall them into the house still. So I'm out here today all on my lonesome. That's kind of what's left. And then there's a pile over there. I've been piling it up, all the branches in, you can see. And then I've been taking all the wood and putting it in the back of my truck to haul off. I burn wood, so it's not a big deal, but I've got more wood than I can burn just cleaning the field lines of my small farm there. But anyway, so I'm here sitting on a log, thinking about things. But in order to cut the trees, I didn't know where the property line was. And there's a vacant lot up above me, or a few of them actually, between me and that house. And so I didn't know where the property line was. And so I wrote a letter to whoever owned this property, and it was a company in Northern Virginia, just to give you an idea. We're 8 hours away from that, roughly. And they never did get back to me. Imagine that. They could have just said, hey, it's okay if you cut those trees, or no, we can't cut those trees. Never did get back to me. So I had to pay for a survey. So I had to pay thousands of dollars for a survey to then either cut the trees myself or pay thousands of dollars to have the trees cut, to then put a roof on, or pay thousands of dollars to put a roof on. And still, it's going to cost a few $1,000s for material to put the roof on. So it was either do it all myself or pay thousands upon thousands upon thousands of dollars. And even when you do it yourself, you still have to pay thousands of dollars, because unless you're a surveyor, you can't do the survey by yourself. Not if there's no pins left, and there were no pins. So you really can't prove the property boundary. I mean, I guess you can just start cutting people's trees, but then you're opening yourself up to liability. Or, you can just go put a roof on it and hope that your insurance will pay. And by the way, the insurance on this place, they started cutting insurances because they were too risky. And so in order to get insurance back, I had to drop my tree coverage and do just a fire policy. So they sent me a cancellation notice, but in order to, if you have any loans on any of your rental property, guess what? You have to have insurance. And so you have to play their game, right? And so if you don't have loans, you don't have to play their game. So trust me, I'm one who tries to pay them off as soon as possible. So I'll get one, I'll pay it off as soon as I can. The problem is, that thing needs a roof now. And so I got to survey, cut trees, then put a roof on. And all because other people don't want to work with you, right? They don't want to answer a letter. They don't want to answer the phone. Insurance companies who you pay to do things don't want to cover your stuff when you're a responsible property owner. And so now the onus is on you to do everything. And so owning rental property is not what it's cut out to be. And by the way, tenants are in there tearing it up. Now this tenant's really good, but tenants are in there tearing up your property all while you're doing all this stuff. So if you do it yourself, let's say you pay a couple grand for your survey, and you pay, a little bit of money for your chainsaw gas and all that, and blades and stuff. Let's say you're a couple $100 into that. And then let's say you pay $3,000 in roofing materials. You're still maybe 6 grand in. But if I paid someone else to do this, it'll cost more than the house. The house costs $27,000. Just to give you an idea. And any investor in the right mind, the numbers work perfect for this house as far as cash flow and all that, except when you have to do all this stuff. So I'm going to do all this work and still operate at a loss for years on this property. And so rental property is not for the faint of heart. It's not for people who could just invest and it be passive. It's not passive. But the thing about it is, this house will be paid off. It'll have a new roof. It'll have trees cut away from it, right? And the value of it will go up with that. Not tremendously. It's just what you have to take care of, right? But it still is just something you have to do. And so, you know, let's say that the payment on a $27,000 house was a couple $100 a month, which is pretty normal. And you bring in 500, you're like, yeah, buddy, I made it. But the thing about it is, any house that you have, just the degradation, the roof, all that's going to cost a few $100s a month. So the profit margin's not there on small houses, even at good deals, unless, and this is even in rural areas, unless you're doing the lion's share of that work yourself. If I could survey myself, you better believe I would have been out here surveying. Should I have surveyed it before I bought the property? Yes, but this is a property with a special story as far as that goes. The whole fact that it wasn't surveyed is the reason I even got the property, to be honest with you. It wasn't on the market. It was a weird deal. But anyway, and it worked out good, I think. But I still have things I got to take care of. So, long story short, it's a lot of work. If you can't cut it, you can't do the work, you can't spend your days out here hauling brush around and cutting up firewood, hauling it off, dealing with crazy stuff with tenants. I've been dealing with a different house with crazy stuff going on, putting roofs on. If you can't do that, I would recommend not buying rental property. And here's another tip. Buy a house with a simple roof line, and buy it with a not so steep roof unless you're in like a really high snow load area. Because at least it's easier to work on that. It's cheaper to work on that, right? Why would I buy a McMansion style house with all these different roof lines and stuff? It's crazy. I wouldn't want that as my personal residence. When you're looking at buying a property, don't look at just the age of the roof, because you're gonna have to replace it at some point, unless you got like a copper roof or a slate roof or something like that. You're still gonna have to do maintenance to it. Buy you a house with a simple roof line, a simple one, an A. That's right. That's all you want, right? Or a slanted roof. Don't do flat roofs, because those are super expensive to work on too. But yeah, I mean, it's nuts what I see going on and all these people. Why can't I make money rental real estate? Well, because you don't do stuff that makes sense. That's why. Or you don't want to lift a finger to do anything. Well, that's going to be your failure in being a landlord, because being a landlord is a job. It's just a job. Once they're all paid off, that job is a lot better. But it's just a job. Y'all have a good one.